The ocean is the planet's source of life and oxygen, but it's also filled with less than live things inside its waters. From completely unrecognizable corpses to enormous animal skulls. And that's what we will see in today's video. Before we get to that though, don't forget to subscribe because it's very important. Also, don't forget to leave your like and cool comment here in the channel. And tag along, because today we'll see a creature found by a surfer. I am Tiago Tadeo, and welcome to the Upside Down. Since there are many things in the seas, and the ocean is constantly in a coming and going motion that normally brings these things to us, well, those who frequent beaches are always catching sight of something new, right? Among these things, there are some that are normal, others however not so much. And I'm talking about, I don't know, exotic plants, different fish or animals that are unrecognizable. And that's what Ali Dupin, a local surfer, came upon. She was riding the waves in the Sea of Venado Beach in Panama, Central America, when she came across a completely strange and unrecognizable carcass, at least for her, right? Like any good inhabitant of the 21st century, she quickly took out her phone and recorded a video for TikTok, showing the creature that, well, was quite different. The woman obviously couldn't contain her surprise or not feel a bit weirded out to see the animal there, but she was also unable to identify which being that was. Her only certainty is that there was no more life in it. But easy there, the story doesn't end here, you see, because of course that as good surfers of the World Wide Web, people made sure the video went viral. Under the short recording of the surfer that had its 5.5 million likes, were many people in the comments venturing out to discover what creature that was. Everyone was sure it was not something prehistoric, despite looking like it, and certainly not something from outside our planet. While on one side the skeptics were saying it was a normal animal, others were also saying it was something different. Well, the most relevant comments in the video were from people that were saying it could be a monkey that was too long in the water and ended up that way. But one thing is certain, that was really a beyond weird creature to bump into when going surfing or just going near the beach, right? According to a forensic site that analyzed the TikTok case, after all, the video got really famous. Well, sunlight would be to blame for the whitening of the animal, given that when exposed to sunlight for a while, the skin ends up losing color slowly. As it can also suffer from accelerated shrinkage, it makes a little more sense when someone specialized in the subject starts speaking about it, doesn't it? Besides that, the tone and state of its skin were what led the forensic site to believe that the primate had been at that beach for a long, long time. Honestly, my greatest doubt in this whole story is how the monkey got that far away from its natural habitat. But in case you find something weird on the beach, it might be interesting to record it, because apparently it goes pretty viral, alright? Easy there, this is not the only case in which a weird thing was found, you know? Tag along to see the second weird creature. The case of the other animal found on the beach was in June of this year, after a storm in the United States. Different from Ali, the surfer that was there and casually found the dead animal, this case happened after a great storm that caused both the water and the millions of things that live underneath it to rise. After the state park police rode by to try and calculate the total damage of it all, they found a gigantic skull that could have very well belonged to a dinosaur, guys. However, after some avigurations, it was confirmed that the skull was from a great minke whale. The most surreal thing of the whole story is actually the explanation of why the whale came up that way. Differently from the monkey that was floating in the water for quite a while, the minke whale was excavated from a funeral done by the local officers. Crazy story, am I right? According to state agents, the animal was actually a calf, which was pretty evident of course by the size of the skull, that unfortunately died and came to be on the beach. To avoid problems with this, the agents of New Jersey, which was the place where it was found, decided to give it a type of funeral to bury the carcass so that, nothing happened. Bad smell explosions, because whales occasionally explode. But well, to leave the place as peaceful as possible. And with a big storm, of course, all of that came up, right? The director responsible for these actions, Bob Scholkopf from the Marine Mammal Stranding Center, said the skull of the animal probably wasn't buried in the ideal way, and with the storm ended up being excavated and of course brought up. That's why it was there, in that perfect state to be placed in a museum. Strangely enough, minke whales' mortality rates are a little bit above what is expected of the species, at least in the state region. In the last year alone, there were 20 strandings just in the west coast of the United States, being that 4 of those whales met their sad end precisely in New Jersey. What a place to be a magnet to end all whales, huh? Well, that sadly means that probably many other whale skulls will show up in the area if officers aren't able to find out what's causing such a high number of stranded whales. Well guys, these were the weird creatures that were found that, although were strange, had a probable explanation, especially the last case of the whale, isn't that right? If you found something strange stranded on the beach, tell us about it in the comments so we can note that there are also normal people finding weird things. That would be neat. Well, then we'll see each other again in the next video. Be well, and until then, thanks.